Hello, welcome to the Myth-Busting Neurodiverse Relationships podcast. I'm Natalie Roberts and I'm here with my co-host Heather Parks. We've both been in our neurodiverse relationships and families for more than 25 years. We met 10 years ago when we were feeling really desperate and trying to solve a lot of issues in our relationship and our families. We've been journeying since then. We've found many more positive and hopeful ways to solve, resolve, repair, reconnect in those relationships and in our families, in our lives. And we now co-host also Loving Difference online, giving hope and a way forward for neurodiverse relationships. In this podcast, though, we're busting the myths about neurodiverse relationships, which we had when we started this journey, that we've realised aren't true, and that actually were preventing us from recovering and having the relationships with our partners and children that we wanted. So we want to dispel these myths and bring you hope that absolutely things can change. So whether you're out and about or comfy with a cuppa, let's dive into our next conversation. See you there.
Hello, Natalie here. Welcome back again to our next conversation. And today we're hoping to share with you some tips for family events. How do you find it, you or your loved ones, when you're at social events together? We have both found that very challenging at times, and we have some ways that we use now to find our way through it with each other, and we're sharing them with you today. So let's dive in.
Hi, welcome back. Today we're hoping there's going to be a quickie. We're not so good at those, but we're going to try.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
We thought we'd share some of our top tips for being together when needs are very different in your relationship or in your family situation, and that you've got anxiety, either your own or others, in the mix as well. What have been our top tips for being together? The kinds of times I'm thinking about with that would be family events, either just us or with other family members, or bigger social events. Could be just going out for a meal.
It can be quite small.
Small things.
It doesn't take much.
It could be a meal at home, but I'm thinking just more outside the house. Even going shopping together. What other sorts of examples for you before we talk about the tips? Those kinds of things, or anything else?
I mean, it's probably a bit of a big one, but things like birthdays or weddings or those kind of things that you kind of really do want to attend in some capacity as a family. However, you have noticed that there's a cost to it. There's a lot of anxiety around it. How can we do just even a small part of that, maybe?
Yeah. What are the best things to often think about? We need to have some little bit of understanding about some of the stuff that's going on, but then let's wrap some other things around it. What's our top tips that we tend to now wrap around that, so that they go more smoothly, so that we can and if things do happen, others are dysregulated, or there's difficulties for anybody, that they usually, what I talk about is that they are spotted sooner. They
planned for,
or either planned for, or if they happen, that you notice them, they last a shorter amount of time, the impact is less, and you recover more quickly. So those are the things that we work on in Loving Difference. So it isn't that we're trying to eliminate that things will be difficult or go wrong, but you have the strategies and tools so that you could prevent them. You can recover more quickly, the impact is less, and you might be able to head it off at the pass sometimes. So what top tips? A couple of mine would be going to familiar places. I'm one for liking new places and liking variety and fun and adventure. That is very difficult for my people, for all sorts of different reasons. So one of my top tips is, I go and if that is more you, go and do plenty of it with other people who really love it. With including the lovely Heather. And so make sure, if that is your need and it's what you really love to do, go and do it. Because the worst thing is that often I know I was trying to do that with people who really struggle with that, and it's just not their jam. So that's the first tip. The second,
we have that one as well, very much.
Good.
We have a limited range of, for example, restaurants and things that are on the list of, we call them preferred suppliers.
I like that.
We have preferred suppliers, and if it's outside of that, we don't bother.
No, so we're kind of the same. We have a number of places that we can go, either as a couple and then as a family. So that, you know, but I'm making sure that I get my variety and my newness. And what I have found is, certainly with Pete, that if I do new, and I've been a few times, he actually then feels safer to go, because I've kind of sussed it out, and I'm his safe person, that this is, I won't take him to a place that wouldn't be okay. So that's another top tip. What else? What other thoughts do you have?
I think especially if the event that's coming up is big and it's going to involve a lot of social interaction, which is difficult, I would absolutely put a lot of space in the week beforehand. So I would reduce any kind of demands and expectations on my people around that, get them into that situation in the best possible capacity, you know, just free up some room and space for that. I also really try and make anything very optional and invitational. I have learnt my lesson on the kind of pushing, forcing, bribing, manipulating, encouraging, using any kind of a way, because I was so desperate to show up to something as a family that was more important than the actual connection and safety that I was really, you know, seeking to have. And now that's my priority. I think we talk about priority, well-being being everyone's well-being, being the top priority. So we try and make it so that there is capacity in their systems and an invitation.
And yours.
More in mine. Yeah, absolutely. That just stands for reason now, isn't it?
And then time afterwards, or are you still up?
No, I haven't got finished. I haven't got to there. You can have that bit.
Okay.
However, and also I always have an exit plan.
Yes.
So I have, it's
whatever
really,
the thing, even if it's just a meal out. Yeah,
absolutely. It's really, really important that those that I'm going with understand that they can say no anytime. It's all really around consent, really. It's knowing that they have permission to say, actually, this is too much for me. Where can I go? So we might arrange, for example, that the car is going to be their safe place. So we'll make sure we get there early enough to park close by, and maybe that and they've got the car keys, they can go to the car. They've brought along something that's going to make them
transportable regulation.
Transport. I mean, we're talking screens, I'm sorry, but you know,
that's fine.
That might be
it's
something
really
else
fine.
for anybody else, but it tends to be screens in my household, because calming. You know, that is calming for them, and that's the regulation that heavily helps them regulate and pass the time. You know, they're not feeling so fed up about the fact that they're sitting in the car waiting for us. We also, you know, have to be prepared that if things escalate more, and that in itself isn't enough, that we may all have to leave. And I have to kind of get my head around the fact that sometimes I can't be the last to the party, or if my husband has a capacity, he may agree to take the children early and I find another route.
Which is all more possible when we are doing enough of our own, meeting our own needs for these kinds of things. That's what I always find, is I have much more patience, much more capacity myself to be compassionate to the needs of others who are finding a situation that I find relatively easy. Others I know are really not. As long as if I'm doing plenty of that at other times, it's really okay. So a couple of other tips from me in terms of what you were saying. I think it's also then the recovery time afterwards. So for us, anything like if it is a day out or even a weekend or something, I know that actually for us that's 2 weeks. That's a 2-week thing, and there needs to be just some thought about it the week before, and know that the week after some of your people may be in recovery and needing to recharge their batteries, regulate, calm. And so my tip for that is making sure, again, that you have what you need built into that week, knowing that your people may not be as available for you in that week. So that's something to also think about. And also I'm really keen for people to have, even at the table, or again, we talked a bit about it, we have talked about it in other episodes, but that again, their needs are understood or met at the table. So in our house, it's fine for people to maybe have their have music in their ears, have music if we're out at something, and that be fine. And even in the car traveling, again, that pressure to communicate or have conversation and things, we just have taken that away. So, or they may actually be able to do some conversation if they've got a regulation activity or something going on. So
connection,
even at the dinner, even at the table when we're eating. Again, a lot of people might be thinking, well, that's not, there's all sorts of rules we would have about that. Even about conversation participation at the meal. It may be that we just, as people's capacity reduces, their ability to converse, to be as involved, to be engaged, as anxiety is likely going up. What's happening is energy is getting used, our energy is going up because we're enjoying it and we're doing the things that we like. For my people, those situations doesn't mean they don't want to be there at all, but their energy is being used up, and generally anxiety is starting to go up. So some of the things at the table or the time, exit plans and things, is able to sort of keep an eye on those things. And even with exit plans, one of the things Pete said to me once was, that's all very well, but I don't actually know how to say that I need to leave, or when to say, or how to do it.
That's a really good point.
I was scared or I didn't know how to do that. So just knowing that was so helpful, that for all these years that had been difficult. He didn't know how to do that, or that he could. So he would be in defense mode, just needing to have it, thinking he had to stay.
You need to give explicit permission, don't you? You need to make it okay, and they need to know that you're not fed up and cross, and you can't just pretend, because they will know.
So I think the biggest thing for me is the change of perspective. That's what massively changes the feeling for me, as well as the priorities that you're talking about. Actually, the priority is connection and relationship. It's not exactly how the meal is going or what it looks like. That's, we've put something else at higher value. But also,
and then we're choosing that, aren't we? So that's the thing. So we don't then resent the bits that aren't perfect in another perspective. Because we're saying, okay, we don't mind not having those. We don't mind if we have to leave early. We don't mind if, for example, we might have a young person that doesn't, or anyone who doesn't want to eat at the table, or for example, or you might have one that needs to leave as soon as he's finished because he doesn't want to sit around and everyone else still be eating. There's so many things, but if you can think, okay, that's okay, because what's really important to me is that even for 5 minutes we are all around this table together, and I will treasure that moment, and I can really value
we can choose that. I often say you can decide your vibe, so there is choice about the feeling we have at that table. It can either be, I'm resentful and I wish it looked like something else. And there are times when those feelings are coming and we need to be with those. I'm not dismissing that at all. And there's also something where I can say to myself, the people, my loved ones, have different needs, and these situations are very different for them. And actually my desire and my vibe is love in that situation. And it's that I want those needs to be met as best we can, so that everyone can be as well as they can in that situation, knowing that I am looking after myself and doing what I need the best I can outside of that. Seeing you going away, having meals, doing it the way that I really love to do it and can, then I don't come to the event that has a slightly different wrapping to it with those feelings. I can be in that and be the best me, and appreciate everybody showing up the best they can.
That.
And just a different mindset.
One of the frames I tend to put into it is I want to build up evidence for the people that I love, that they are safe, that they have agency themselves, that they have choice, that they have escape plans, that their needs are going to be met, and that what we've agreed is actually stuck to. That's really, really important, isn't it? And then they have the evidence that it was okay this time, and that did happen. So maybe next time I am more comfortable giving it a go, and therefore haven't used up so much of my capacity worrying about it, because I now have that trust. And it's so important to build that trust. It's really,
and it is exactly the same for our adult partners, or adults, as much as it is for children. These things are exactly the same. It isn't because we're older we wouldn't or shouldn't feel or experience these levels or things. It's exactly the same. And so equally important. But you can choose the frame you put round it and the vibe you have in it, that if we can be more expanded in our perspectives about that, we can actually let more love in. This is not taking anything away. This is bringing more in. So I trust and hope that those are really those are helpful for you. Your ways will look like your whatever they are for you, but hopefully these give you a few little seeds of ideas and ways to maybe move into trying some of those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll see you again soon.
Take care.
If this episode has resonated with you, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening or watching to get notifications of future episodes. To dive deeper into all of this with professional coaching, resources, and all the support you need, join us in Love Indifference via www.loveindifference.net. And we'll be back here soon.